Live action Lion King wasn't bad.
I very strongly disagree with you. I think it was horrible.
Live action Lion King wasn't that bad to me compared to other live
Have
action
you watched it again?
No, that's fair.
There
So
you go.
so I'm so I'm not you're not gonna see me and that's a fair argument I love.
Hello and welcome to the Infinity Bros podcast, the only podcast that's perfectly balanced as all things should be. My name is Isaac Edlin. I am your host tonight. And with me, I have one very special friend in Infinity Bro. It is the portal master of the Infinity Bros universe. It's Max Mosher. How you doing, Max?
I'm doing good. What is the Easter Bunny's favorite type of music, Isaac?
It sounds like a great joke that my daughter would love to tell me. She'd be like giggling before she even reveals the punchline. I don't know. What is it?
Hip hop.
Oh,
glad to be here. Here we are.
Me.
And the sound you hear is everybody turning off the podcast.
That is 100% a joke that my daughter would read me from a joke book and just bust her gut laughing about.
That is a joke my father-in-law, who Isaac knows, would make and would be like, this is it. This is the best joke ever.
Shout out joke. It is.
Shout out to my father-in-law. He rocks. But that is a joke he'd make.
That is.
With
I can see myself sitting at the table right next to him, hearing that joke, and everybody just collectively groans and rolls their eyes. Yep, I can visualize it. Yeah. So here we are in March, the end of March here. We're getting through March Madness. And Max, do you have any brackets that are still currently live right now?
I have picked Michigan to win it. I had them playing Duke, but then Duke lost today. We're recording on the day they lost to UConn. That was a pretty crazy game. My hot take, I was telling, we do a Patreon show. Check that out. You can go in the show notes, check that out. I have a hot take. My hot take on March Madness is that the first 2 rounds of March Madness are more fun than the other 4 rounds of March Madness.
Is that even a hot take? Like, no, I think I actually agree with you, because the first 4 rounds or the first 2 rounds, I should say, have the big upsets. Like, they've got the big ones.
Yeah, and I think I've just come to the realization, too, that nobody cares about brackets after that Saturday and Sunday weekend.
That's fair, right?
Like, after like Thursdays when everyone cares, then Friday, a huge chunk lose out or they get upset. And then Saturday, Sundays where you find out who really is about it, or they're just a degenerate and they gamble a lot. And, then after that, you find out who either knows ball, who actually has a bracket that's still intact, or just enjoys the sport. And so that's just kind of where I've landed on it. I am still watching because I don't know ball. I like the sport though. And my son is obsessed with it. So here we are.
I also don't know ball. I like every year I come to the tournament, have not watched a lick of college basketball, and I don't know anything about any of the teams, and make blind brackets basically. And then March Madness is a blast. Like, I love watching the March Madness games. Like, I don't know. That's like maybe just a general sports fan thing, is like, hey, let's watch March Madness because it's really fun.
Yeah, and I feel like in the nerd community, the sports ball guys, they got to be filling out some brackets too, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
But I think you don't have to care about it.
Some like nerd brackets in the future.
That'd be great.
We've talked a lot of people that before, but
a lot of people do a good nerd bracket. But I think what makes a nerd bracket a great bracket is if the seating is correct. The committee that is putting together the theme has to do it right.
The committee. It's all about the committee. Exactly. You can't have like, Mario and like Kirby facing off in round 1. Like, that's just
that's insanity.
That's silly talk. Yeah, you can't do that.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So speaking of Mario and Kirby, we did talk a little bit about Super Mario Galaxy movie on the Patreon as well. So link in the show notes if you want to hit up our Patreon. You can join for as little as $2 a month to get exclusive content of the Infinity Bros. So it's always a blast. Like, we always talk a lot of fun stuff. And if you hit up one of Mark and I's patrons, it's always like a therapy session. We're just like talking life and fatherhood and just all the deep things that Max doesn't want to talk about. So Max,
I'm happy to talk deep things. I'm happy to do that.
No. Of course not. We can't talk about that on Nerd Podcast. Man, we did get, and Mark always brings up the conspiracy stuff too. So we have to dive deep into the weeds, even if it's not the nerd weeds.
Which what makes Mark so great, and if you've never listened to our show, 6 rotating cast members on the show. Mark and I, when we're together, I don't believe it, but I still listen. So it's like that scene in The Office where he's like, "Don't be ridiculous. Continue." Dwight, when he's talking to Jim about some conspiracy theory he made up. Yeah,
and that becomes more and more true as time goes on, because legitimately, Mark was telling us about half of this Epstein stuff 5-6 years ago, and we all just were like, "Oh, Mark, silly Mark, how could you even think all of that stuff?" And now it's like coming out in the files, and we're all like, "Oh gosh, okay."
A lot of it's redacted, and Mark just feels vindicated, but it's too much information for him to fully prove it. He isn't fully pointed at something yet. I'm not. He doesn't get that much credit yet. Let's settle down with that.
You know what? I'm impressed with him either way, so I'll give him credit for
I was impressed with Mark without that. Mark has my respect without any of that.
Amen to that. So even though we're not talking about the Epstein files or the Super Mario Galaxy movie, very different subjects, we are going to be talking about some big things coming soon and some things that we've caught lately. So the first thing we're going to be talking about is Project Hail Mary, which Max got a chance to see in theaters. And then we're also going to review Daredevil Born Again Season 2, Episode 1, which dropped on Disney Plus last week. By the time you hear this, Season 2 or Episode 2, I should say, should be close to being aired, but I'll try to get it out as soon as I can. Daredevil is a show that we should be doing weekly episodes on, but we're a group of busy guys. You know, we got kids, we got lives. I'm going to try as best as I can to keep you guys in the loop with weekly review episodes of Daredevil Born Again, because man, even though the disappointment of last season, I feel like the hype was here for this season. Like I'm still pumped about it. I'm still excited about it. And this year, we've got more nerd stuff to be excited about, and superhero stuff particularly, than we have in years to be excited about. Like there's so much good stuff coming out. We've got Daredevil Born Again, obviously. The Punisher special presentation is coming out on May 12th. Randomly, they were like, "Oh, hey, we're going to drop this in a month." And everybody's like, "What? Okay, cool." You know, DC's got Supergirl. They've got Clayface coming out later this year. We've got Spider-Man Brand New Day coming in the summer, and then Avengers Doomsday coming in December. Like so much great nerd stuff coming out. And Invincible is coming out right now. The Boys Season 5, final season of The Boys. I mean, have we had a better year for superheroes in basically the whole time we've had this podcast? I don't even know.
I don't know. I think that year with Endgame was pretty big too, because there was also the prospect of all of the.
You're right.
There's all the prospect of like what was next too, right? Because before that, everyone was like, "How does this end?" And then they were like, "We're doing more, we promise." And so, yeah, I think was really good. I think also too, this year, everything points to Doomsday, right? So I think, and with Spider-Man Brand New Day, what makes shows like Daredevil, which we're going to talk about later in the episode, so appealing is a possibility of connection. And so we'll see. I have low expectations about connection,
which is something that we have been slightly frustrated by in the MCU, but they've picked up the slack a little bit in the last couple of years.
I'm low expectations when it comes to the TV shows.
I feel like we're all pretty low expectations with almost everything at this point, but the hype,
which is crazy because season 1 we were pretty frequent on reviewing that show, and now we're kind of like, we'll see.
Well, the hype was there because Netflix Daredevil was so good, legitimately, and this is obviously just my opinion, but I think it's probably the best superhero TV show of all time. Like it's so stinking good. And you get to Daredevil Born Again, and they brought back everybody. They look like they're doing everything the right way. And then you hear about all of the, like, you know, production problems that they had. And they started out with like a big 18 episode season, then cut it to 9. And then I kind of maybe balked a little bit. it'll still be really good regardless. And then, man, I felt like it was still a solid season of television, but it was a lot messier than I was expecting it to be,
Well, and,
unfortunately.
and to your point too, this year is also a big sci-fi year. I mean, Project
Yeah.
Hail Mary, Disclosure Day from Steven Spielberg. He's getting back
Mm,
in the director chair. That's
nope.
going to be a big one. Dune Part 3. I mean, they're not moving their date. They plan on going head to head with Doomsday. I
Doomsday.
mean, Christmas is going to be crazy at the
It's gonna
box
be
office
wild.
and on YouTube reviewing stuff. So,
Speaking of sci-fi, let's get into it a little bit. Once again, I said that Max had a chance to see Project Hail Mary in the movie theater. Project Hail Mary, if you guys haven't checked it out yet, is in movie theaters right now, starring Ryan Gosling. A science teacher wakes up alone on a spaceship. As his memory returns, he uncovers a mission to stop a mysterious substance killing Earth's sun, and then an unexpected friendship may be the key, based on a book that is very highly regarded of the same name, Project Hail Mary. So, first of all, Max, have you read the book? Are you a book reader?
I have not read the book, and I'm so glad I didn't read the book.
Okay. All right. That's an interesting perspective. I haven't read the book either. And I was like kind of debating, should I wait to read the book? Like, should I just go see the movie? Like, what should I do? So, we're going to have some good insight from Max here, but I'm going to let you take it away. Do you want to do spoilers, or are we doing just like straight
Um,
non spoiler review?
Let me give a non-spoiler review just because then we can jump into Daredevil. And the reason I'll say non-spoiler, because normally I don't care about talking about spoilers, but also one of the things I'll talk about I just don't think is a spoiler, and I think that's the side character. So if you don't want to hear anything about characters, I just don't think my review is the one for you. So there you go. That's your
That's
warning.
fair. There you go.
Ryan Gosling's in this. He plays a science teacher waking up alone on a spaceship. Memory returns. He uncovers a mission to stop a mysterious substance killing Earth's sun, and an unexpected friendship may be the key. And it's this friendship that I think is the heart and soul of this movie. Written and directed by Drew Goddard. Andy Weir wrote it, and then Phil Lord and Chris Miller, who we love, who have done the Spider-Verse movies, as well as I think the music's done by the same composer. Forgive me if I'm wrong.
Hmm.
Yeah, Isaac, I'm not going to barely lead this. This is a great movie. This is going to be in the Stanleys at the end of the year for me. I loved it. I thought it was very good in the sense of having a sci-fi movie that didn't take itself too seriously, that understood the stakes, but also understood how to have levity. I've heard somebody label this movie as dark comedy, and I don't agree with that label. I think this is pure sci-fi comedy. Not you're not going to obviously get a Galaxy Quest. It's not that type of humor, but it is a humor that is very specific to Ryan Gosling. Sandra Hüller's in this as well, and then James Ortiz plays Rocky, the sidekick, who essentially looks like a rock spider. And him and Gosling's Ryland Grace, who refers to himself pretty much as just Grace throughout the whole movie. Man, dude, this has so many themes of life. This has so many themes of redemption. This has so many themes of perseverance. This is taking the hero arc and forcing someone into the hero arc. And that is who Gosling's Grace is in this movie. From the second this movie starts, you feel like you're watching a blend of multiple sci-fi movies made. There's so many different influences on this movie. I have yet to listen to any interviews from Phil Lord and Chris Miller. I'm confident in saying they had to have gotten Kubrick, Back to the Future, just Star Wars, Marvel movies. I wonder how much they were color wise inspired by Guardians of the Galaxy. This is just a really heartwarming movie and a story about life. When you watch sci-fi movies these days, I think of back in the 2000s, The Day After Tomorrow is this gloomy, like the world is ending, and the movie ends with people living, and that's like the biggest deal. This one kind of inverts that. This one starts from everybody understands it's hopeless, and then the problem starts. And I think that's great. And so this is just a welcomed addition to the sci-fi lore of historical sci-fi movies. This is going to be an all-timer, I think, for a lot of people. It's an all-timer for me. Supporting cast is great. Isaac asked me in our Patreon part, is this a movie to see in theaters? I have always been on the record of saying I think most movies do not need to be seen in theaters. I would push against that with this. This is a see in theaters movie. I think it's visually beautiful. It was made for that lens. It was made to be seen in that setting, and you will not be upset you spent your $12 to $15 depending on if you're seeing it in a matinee or in an evening, or depending on, I don't know what your theater costs are. I have two gripes in this movie. One, I don't think Ryan Gosling plays a great nerdy scientist visually. Acting wise, he's tremendous. But this character is so not about himself at times that it's hard for me to watch Ryan Gosling, who's played all of these handsome do-gooder characters, kind of be told he's not really attractive to people. Didn't really buy that. The second one is I wish they would have marketed the side character more. I don't think they marketed it enough. I think a lot of people are seeing this movie thinking, what's the mystery? And the mystery is important. The side character is the intriguing part of the movie. And I understand that marketing, you want to have a shade of mystery there. I think if you are a diehard sci-fi person and you know you're going to like a sci-fi movie, don't worry about seeing it. But if you're somebody like Isaac who is on the fence, this character is visually just going to look a little strange, and that's okay. You got to push through it. So yeah, I love this movie. I'm giving it a 5.8 out of 6. I think it's a really strong movie. Wow. I really loved it. Those are very, very minor gripes, but I'm going to read this book. This book's going on the shelf to read soon. So James Ortiz does a wonderful job as well. If you want to know who and what he plays, you can look it up. But James Ortiz, I want to give him a shout out as well. So it's a long movie. It's dense.
Yeah, I believe 2 hours and 39 minutes is what I saw.
36, I think. Yeah.
So yeah, it's not, a walk in the park type of movie necessarily, but 5.8 from you is impressive, and the recommendation to see it in movie theaters, because Max, as he kind of references kind of our guides, like, hey, you don't need to see it in movie theaters. And
yeah,
I wouldn't say you're like anti movie theaters, but
because I go to the theater more than anybody else in our group. They get the most money from me. I'm just saying this is a mix between 2001: A Space Odyssey, Interstellar, and Guardians of the Galaxy. That is what this movie is. It is those three movies rolled into one, and it's awesome.
Nice.
And it's not written like a Marvel movie. It's written like a creative, understands itself, smart but funny movie. And any more to be said would be spoiling it. Go see it. Don't miss it. And if you can know as little as possible, I think that would help your experience.
So don't read the book, you're saying, before you go see it.
Well, I've heard some people who said they read the book think the movie's not as good. And I'm like, all right, well, that's how.
Yeah, that's always hard with like book to movie adaptations, because like you just physically cannot fit a whole book into a 2-hour movie most of the time. Like it's just,
and I think the only movie that's kind of nailed that in the history of cinema is probably Lord of the Rings. And even then,
even then they leave out major chapters of the Lord of the Rings trilogy in those movies. And they still have extended cuts too that are like 4 hours a piece. Kind of wild. And those, like you said, I mean, they probably are the best book to movie adaptation, but they still do a lot of things differently than the books do. Like they still have to adapt them to be a movie, it's just physically not possible to have a perfect adaptation of a book to a movie. But I would say Lord of the Rings has got to be close to the most perfect.
Daniel Pemberton is the composer.
Pemberton, yeah, he did.
He's composed The Trial of Chicago 7 and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. That guy knows what he's doing.
Yeah, Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse were both fantastic.
He's the one that made, because he did Across the Spider-Verse, he's the one that made that huge mix of music at the end of that movie that is literally 4 different styles of music. Like the only guy that I think is hanging with a guy like that right now are Ludwig, who just won.
Ludwig Göransson,
Ludwig Göransson's up there, and then
dude's gonna be John Williams level before he.
I was gonna say John Williams and Hans Zimmer. Like those are the three. Right. I see him kind of, and this is another. This is another soundtrack I think that people will remember.
Nice. Box office wise, it is not counting this weekend, already at 300 million globally and 165 million domestically, which for a long movie like that, I feel like is pretty impressive. I mean, this one's got a shot to be upper 800, 900 million. I feel like maybe a billion. I don't know. It needs some legs to hit a billion at this point.
I don't
But
see it getting there, but this one's hard.
still, again, for a sci-fi movie that's 2.5 hours long.
Yeah. Connected to
impressive.
nothing. Yeah.
Original movie. Yeah. That's the thing that I don't know, me personally, I feel like I've been clamoring for a more original titles, because so much remakes and live actions and rehashings of IPs and stuff like that. I don't know. It just feels like it starts to get old after a while. So I'm all in on this, and I'm going to still try to make an effort to make it, to see it in theaters, because it looks and sounds like a movie that is more, and Dune too. Like, Dune is another one of those things where, like, I'm not even a big Dune fan, but like, that's one of those movies that you should go see in theaters.
Yeah, that Dune 3 trailer in the theater, and that Spider-Man Brand New Day trailer in the theater.
Spider-Man trailer was in it? Nice.
They're different trailers in the theater.
Whew. Let's go. I can't wait. Oh yeah. All right. I'm excited. So, for those of you guys who have not listened to the Infinity Bros podcast, we have a special rating system that we use in the podcast.
Here on the Infinity Bros podcast, everything is ranked from a 0 to 6 point scale. 0 meaning horrible, and 6 meaning absolutely excellent. If all of the Infinity Bros rank something a 6, it gets an Infinity Step.
Max already referenced that with his 5.8 out of 6. Solid rating for Max. I feel like the longer we've had this podcast, the less things get 6s for us. Like, right away, I felt like we're like bang, 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 like everything gets a 6. And I don't know if it's just us getting older and grouchier, or us getting a little bit more critical of entertainment in general. Maybe I don't know.
I'll give a lot of characters, composers, writers 6s. I feel like these days.
Right.
I'm not giving whole shows 6s these days, because you got a lot to go against.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. Right. And I feel like if it's a 6, you gotta make the claim that it's in that conversation for best of all time. Right. Like,
yeah. And like, a movie that I paralleled to this is Interstellar. And I would say I was not we didn't have our show back then, but I was not as high on Interstellar as other people were.
Oh, yes. People are, I love an Interstellar too, but people like cinephile type people are like, oh my gosh, it's the best movie that's ever been created.
I've never had a movie experience punch me in the face and mess with my brain, like in terms of senses, like Interstellar. And so to me, this movie was very comparable to that. And I think part of the reason I really liked this one was it reminded me of Interstellar at times, but I didn't walk away with a headache or like trying to understand of what did I just watch.
Right.
Another thing about this movie, and this isn't a spoiler, this movie has a definitive ending. Maybe I do spoil a little bit there. Sometimes these movies, it's like, they have to make a choice.
Yeah.
And they had an opportunity to do that.
Those Nolan movies, man.
And they made a choice. And I was like,
a little bit.
I was like, thank goodness I don't have to sit and wonder. I was so honestly, that might be a huge reason why I give it such a high rating. Because I was like, oh, such a good ending. I really
one of the most influential movies I feel like that I watched early on in my life was Inception. Like, I didn't go to a lot of movies that weren't superhero / Marvel / Disney movies like back in the day. But I remember going to Inception, and that one like blew my mind, and I was like, "What the heck?" Like, I have to think about that
because but Inception's different because when Christopher Nolan does it, that's different, right? When Christopher Nolan leaves me hanging, there's a lot that could be said about why he's doing that. I don't think every director is as good at that as Christopher Nolan is allowed to do that. Quentin Tarantino is allowed to do that.
Then you can do it. Sure.
Yes.
Go for it.
Mm-hmm. The rest of these jokers and Phil Lord and Miller, they might be getting in the category now where I'm going to let them do it. But they also like even with Across the Spider-Verse, like that was an ending.
Mm-hmm.
Still was an ending. I know it's a cliffhanger, but the ending was pretty clear.
Right.
Miles ended up in another universe.
Right.
His friends are going to go save him.
What was going on at the end of
Nope.
that movie.
I was not in a position of what is happening here.
Yeah.
Like Interstellar, but that's a completely different ballgame. We're off the rockers. Let's get to the main event.
We always are. We're always off our rockers. All right. Next big thing that we're going to be talking about is Daredevil Born Again Season 2. The premiere came out last week, and we're getting next episodes. I think it's Tuesday nights is when the release schedule is. Tuesday nights. We're getting 8. They had these big grandiose plans for Daredevil Born Again when they were getting it together, releasing it on Disney Plus initially. It was slated to come out with 18 episodes right away before they basically scrapped a bunch of it and started from kind of square one. And so I was like curious, how does that push off into season 2? But now that the mess of season 1 is behind us, they have a single vision or goal to go forward to. So I think that's a positive thing. But for those of you guys who don't remember, season 2 or season 1 ended with Fisk. You know, he was obviously became mayor in season 1. And then he basically took control of the city by martial law using his anti-vigilante task force at the end of the season. And Daredevil said he was getting together an army. And then the camera panned over to a bunch of normies in a bar. And everybody was like, what the heck is this? Like, why is this the ending?
We've talked about it a couple times in the show, but
oh, yeah.
I love the way you just described it. Way more funny than the way I described it.
I literally was like, after the shot got done panning, I was like, is there anybody else? Like, is somebody going to walk into the frame here? Like, what's happening?
And you know what's funny too? I think the other thing I had an issue with season 1 was you introduced all these little side characters that just were unnecessary when you had Dex, you had Wilson Fisk, you had Karen Page, you had Foggy. And I know they made a very dramatic decision right out the gate with Foggy, right? Like you had it, and then they filled it with like Kirsten McDuffie, his side, like that. She is just such a miss. Like it has nothing to do with the actress. She's just a miss. You had Heather Glenn, who is the girlfriend, and then Muse, and like Muse was a cool idea, but he's kind of a sidekick. And you brought in Punisher, but I don't know if Marvel even knows what they're doing with Punisher.
Right.
I don't know. That's the thing I'm hoping this season can figure out is they want to add all these side characters, and every show's got to have them, right? I'm not saying you can't have side characters, but they just feel lifeless. They don't feel full like the original series was. Like Urich was a powerhouse in that first season.
Yeah.
And BB Urich feels like a Temu cheap knockoff. And and even Buck compared to, and I forget his sidekick in season 1, but Karen killed him and it was such a big deal. Right. I think the normies thing is like kind of the reality. That's how that first season felt. It's a tremendous illustration of how the show felt. It felt like our beloved Matt Murdock was like, let's do this. And you're expecting the people that we loved to show up. And it's just this amalgamation of characters that don't do anything for us. And Kevin Feige and his team are like, look, aren't they just as great? And we're like, no, they're not. They're just not. Like Daniel Blake, Michael Gandolfini's character, just a flop. Like this guy is just the ultimate turd.
Well, that's what he's written to be. That's what he's
yeah, I know. But I'm saying like he doesn't have any scary in him. Mm-hmm. He's so not scary. And yeah, BB Urich, I'm trying to figure that out. I had a lot of qualms with season 1. Yeah. And this is just like how I felt. But then Wilson Fisk, D'Onofrio is always good. It doesn't matter what they write. He's always good.
Right. D'Onofrio and Charlie Cox.
I know.
Together are insane. Like they're so good that first season is still worth watching. Like it's
100%.
Personally, I don't think it's as bad as a lot of people say. I still don't think it's fantastic or anything by any means, but it definitely feels like something that got chopped up and is basically just a mess.
Well, we talked about that last season in the finale too. I don't think the show they planned was the show we got.
No, not at all.
I think my crackpot theory, and we are going to break this episode down. I know I'll get in a second.
We'll get there.
I have no proof to this. This is pure, just like what I think happened. I legit think they wanted Kristen Ritter and Mike Coulter to show up at the end of the season, and maybe Finn Jones. And I think it just didn't work out, and so that's why they had the normies. Because think about it, Isaac. If that season ends with you had Punisher the whole season in there, and then all of a sudden you have Coulter's Luke Cage is back, Jessica Jones is back, the Iron Fist is back. Like, I think people are way different about this season if those three are in it.
Yeah, like, I mean, it makes you forget a lot of the bad things in the season if the very end of the season is a big bang. Holy crap, like, that's amazing. I can't wait for the next season, even though the rest of the season kind of was a mess.
Well, this show needs Elektra in it. This show needs Stick in it. This show needs those types of characters back. Yeah. And I know those shows did their decision making to drop those characters, right? Like, you can't, Avengers did it, but like, you can't in this show get in a time machine and go fix those things.
Right. Yeah.
I'm just saying that is kind of where this show is at coming into this season. That was where I was sitting before I sat down to episode 1. And like a lot of Marvel TV shows, I've been like, okay, yeah, we'll watch it. We'll get it in. I'll find a time. I'll watch it because I'm a Marvel shill. But a lot of people aren't.
Yeah, right. And that's a great point, is that, like, I mean, we're going to watch this stuff no matter what. There are normal people who like superheroes, but they're probably only going to go see Avengers movies in the movie theater.
Right.
They're not really watching all of those Disney Plus shows. They're just not watching them because they have not heard enough about them on the street from normal people. Like me and you are always going to talk about this stuff. Like, that's just what we do. But they have not heard enough about it from normal people that they are drawn to this yet. Maybe it'll happen in the future. At this point, it still really, really hasn't happened. But yeah, I think coming off of season 1, I share a lot of the same sentiment with you. It just, unfortunately, was a mess. And coming into season 2 now, though, they do have a single direction. They didn't have to, rehash and cut a ton of this season. So hopefully that's a good thing for us, the consumers.
And it's such a shame that this group of people is getting that. Like, if this happens to, and I'm not saying like I want this to happen to other projects, like if that had happened to like a She-Hulk, which a lot of people feel like it did, I didn't, but like, or a Miss Marvel or those other shows, I think some people would have been like, oh man, we're never going to get a shot at it. This show, we know this show can be good. And that's part of the frustration with season 1 is I know what you can do. Marvel, I know what you can do too. Yeah. What's going on here? Where's the disconnect? And I mean, Spider-Man's coming up too. He's in a friendly neighborhood, but there's a lot of crap happening in that movie too. And I think too, I said this in our Thunderbolts review. The Thunderbolts movie, what ticked me off about that movie was that there was zero reference to Wilson Fisk. That after all the crap he did, all this stuff was happening in New York, and there's not one reference to Wilson Fisk.
Right.
If that is not addressed in this season, I'm then going to carry that blame over into this show. I'm going to share it with both.
Well, okay. And we've got the Spider-Man Brand New Day trailer, which pretty prominently features the hand.
And it spoils, I'm not going to say what, but if you watch the trailer closely, it spoils something about this show. I'll tell you offline, Isaac, if you're like, that sounds cryptic, but I feel like people don't genuinely know. And first time I watched it, I was like, oh, that's a big spoiler. Again, it's very small. It's a very small detail, but it is a spoiler for this show.
I feel like spoilers are just so commonplace now that Marvel / the corporations don't even care that they're spoiling.
But in a trailer, when your show is just hopping on.
But trailers nowadays are literally like they just go through the plot.
Okay.
Like trailers nowadays just suck.
I'll say it. If you don't want interest in what I'm saying, skip ahead 30, 45 seconds.
This is
Prepare yourself.
an Infinity Bros.
Prepare yourself.
Spoiler. Warning.
the key to the city is being given not
Okay,
by
yeah.
Wilson Fisk. It's being given by, I'm forgetting her, Sheila. It's being given by Sheila Rivera. That is a massive spoiler.
Right.
That is a massive spoiler to me. That shows Wilson Fisk is out of the picture by Spider-Man. I don't like, makes me ticked off.
Yeah. Right.
And I would have wanted to find that out, and we didn't need the video clip of it. All we needed was Spider-Man given the key to the city. Could have been a newspaper clipping. Like,
right.
This
you
is
could
not
just have
a
him with the
hard
key
thing.
to the city. You didn't even need
this
it.
isn't a hard thing. Like, and that's the stuff that Marvel's lost. Marvel's lost that. And it's become the thing it hated. It's become the thing Feige hated.
The thing is, though, like, they've already renewed Daredevil Born Again for season 3. Like, it's already being filmed currently right now.
Which says to me they like what this season is.
Right. That, and do you think Daredevil works without Vincent D'Onofrio's Wilson Fisk?
So I think we got to get into the show to talk about this.
Sure. Okay.
Because like I think Daredevil works on two levels. One, he either works if he's got a villain that has him in hiding, because now the cat's out of the bag. The cat's out of the bag that he's Matt Murdock, and Matt Murdock is in hiding, right? And so obviously this season takes place, what is it, like 5, 6, 7 months, however many months. Wilson Fisk is under control. Like, the whole city's on martial law, or not martial law, but
yeah, basically martial law.
Yeah, we'll call it martial law. There's curfews. Yeah. And so to start right out the gate with Daredevil taking over this Northern
Star,
that's like such a big move right out the gate. But what's crazy about that is it bothers other people. To me, and that's where we get the introduction to I'm being a bad podcast host, Mr. Charles. So to answer that question, I think it's very clear Dave Fontaine is like a big bad for him and the Defenders or whoever else is amongst the city members. Right. So I'd wonder where they go with Fisk past this season, if he goes a route where he's not as in control as mayor anymore, or if he goes back underground. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just like, this is all, we're back to kind of that season 3 vibe where Matt's underground, but season 3 felt aesthetically more dark. This feels more light. This feels more, he's out in the open. Yes, he's not alone.
Him, Karen have a lot more hope than I kind of expected them to have.
And I hated that, Isaac. I hated it. I didn't like it.
Right. Guilty down Daredevil is like the best Daredevil.
Yeah, like and is it because, I mean, let's also call a spade a spade. Is this Daredevil really the Daredevil of that old show?
That's a great question.
I mean, don't know. I don't know if it is. I at fundamentally, and I think if Marvel said something like that, I would be more forgiving. Do I think other people would? I don't know. Would I be? Yeah.
I think canonically it is, but I don't think that you're like crazy for questioning that. Like, I think there is legitimate concern for, like, is it a different multiverse? And we kind of had a similar story from the first 3 Netflix Daredevil seasons in our MCU, but it's not quite the same. I don't know, man. I don't know. I think it's possible.
And there's the power play of, him, Fisk, taking all these people, his ex-girlfriend lying now about their psych reports with the swordsman, which, by the way, who'd have thought the swordsman was going to be a guy that really was important? Like,
I love that. It's
he is that character's growing on me more and more from Hawkeye.
Yeah, and I just watched Better Call Saul, and he's like one of the bad guys in that, and he's great. He's a great actor.
He is a good actor. Like, if they want to give him a crack at like a movie with a Hawkeye or something, I'd be fine with that.
That'd be sick. Yeah, I'd be down.
Yeah, the one, I will say this first episode, I thought the boat thing is a great big picture thing. I think it's awesome because it disrupts everything.
Yep. And
that to me is what I want from this show, and I think they're answering it with Mr. Charles. This show, I just already feel it. I hate that I'm putting my chips on one character, but I really do think his positioning, I think, is going to play a ton into how I think this show is going to be. If he is connected to the bigger picture and it actually has semblance of organization, I'm going to be thrilled.
Yeah. Right.
Because no matter what, the Fisk Murdoch fight is going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
It's always good. Those two, like we said, they always bring the goods. Would be shocked if they didn't bring the goods.
In the trailer leading up to this season too, you get the clips of Fisk boxing.
Yeah.
And whoo, man. Okay. I love political and like scheming Fisk. He's great.
Sure.
But the physically menacing Fisk is the one that gets me going. I'm like, oh yeah, like the one that can beat the crap out of Spider-Man, you know, like, whew, that's the one that gets me excited. So,
and they're going to be really on the nose politically. Like this feels kind of like The Boys to me. It feels just really politically on the nose with what's going on in the world right now. I'll keep it at that. And I think that's going to offend some people, which is fine. If you can't watch these superhero shows without that, or without at least looking at the lens of what other people think, fine. Okay.
I mean, that's the same thing as like, this goes along with literally any piece of media ever. If you don't like it, just stop watching it. Like, just don't watch it.
Get on a podcast. You don't have to. Give it a low rating.
There you go.
Don't watch WandaVision again.
Move on. Don't mention WandaVision in 60 more episodes of the podcast.
I can't. I can't and I won't. I can't and I won't.
Oh gosh. I would like to go back and count how many times.
I would rewatch WandaVision for the bit. I would 100% rewatch WandaVision for the bit. Hey, let's put it down. Right. So I think like to me, the Fisk and Matt Murdock stuff is fine. I think Karen Page is a dead woman walking. Like they're making out at the front end of this season. They're so in love.
See,
like
the hope,
that's that.
Yeah, that's where the hope comes in. Something's gonna happen.
That romance is toast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was thinking about this. I was wondering if they are they gutsy enough to go for the Born Again run from Frank Miller? Because when the Born Again series was, when they introduced that series, my mind went to 227 to 233 Daredevil, where Karen becomes addicted to heroin and she's used by Wilson Fisk to totally reach him. Like, I legit wonder if they got the stones to go for it this season and do something parallel to that. I don't know. I would be interested to see what they do with that. But I'm with you. It's too hopeful. A sad Daredevil is just as great, if not worse, than a sad Spider-Man, right? So
we need the sad Spider-Man.
I need them both broken. And just like Punisher, I need him living off coffee grounds and thinking he's in war all the time. Yeah, whatever they do with Fisk will be fine. It's just all the people around both of them that I'm just eye rolling at. I'm like, this is too much time. We're spending too much time on other people. We need to be hunkering down. We didn't get Jessica Jones in this episode. That bothered me so much, Isaac. I'm like, I thought she was going to save the day at the end. I thought she was going to be the one that saved him at the end of the episode.
Yeah, she's listed on IMDb in 7 episodes, so she should show up.
Whatever. IMDb doesn't know what they're talking about. They're just rolling the dice. I do find it surprising that Bullseye did save him, and I'm very curious to see why he saved him. Like, is it a sadistic, no one's going to kill him but me kind of thing? Is it a, hey, screw Fisk, let's team up, I want on your team? And then all of a sudden he's like, because they couldn't get Coulter or Iron Fist, maybe he's the extra leg to kind of keep this show going, to keep people interested.
I mean, he did try to kill Fisk last season, so I mean, like, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that
he is, without a doubt, one of the best characters of this show.
He's so good.
He's on their Mount Rushmore. Yes.
He might even be on the Mount Rushmore of like television superhero villains.
Yeah. You're not wrong.
Daredevil is so good. And he is so good in that season. Oh,
yeah. Man. Tell me why. I'm just, again, I'll go back to it. Why am I getting a lot of scenes with Kirsten McDuffie, the lawyer? And I'm getting Heather Glenn having a PTSD moment. She's probably ending up like the next Muse, or she's going to be a villain.
Oh yeah.
And sure. I'm not getting any Vanessa Fisk. I'm not getting barely any Karen Page. Dex has a knife that reads "See you soon," and Daredevil's blind. Like, what are we doing here?
Oh my gosh, I didn't even notice that. I love that you brought that up. I'm sure he felt it afterwards. But,
Yeah,
but
we're getting
that's
the
hilarious.
swordsman got a scene in this episode.
I like him, and I'm okay with that.
I do too. I need to lay off the
I
swordsman.
want to go back to Heather Glenn because I don't know, man. There's some like last season, obviously she was like kind of a main character with the whole Muse thing and stuff like that. And now we're rehashing that again.
Hate it. I will see where it goes, but I hate it right now.
Right. I mean, you're totally right. Like she's definitely going to become a villain, maybe even Muse, like maybe even like become Muse, because that's what she's seeing. I could totally see that. But the one thing that I wasn't even surprised by, honestly, I can't even say that I was surprised, but like last season, we kind of got the turn, but it seemed like it was very circumstantial and like, oh, like, she didn't really see what was really going on. So she sided with Fisk because she doesn't really know the whole story. And now in this season, we're seeing her like start to lie to, make up her like assessments with the swordsman and stuff like that. So like, she's not just not seeing the picture. She is a full bad guy now, which I was a little surprised that this started so early. I guess I kind of thought that maybe that she saw Fisk was a bad guy at some point and then like had an internal, battle with herself as to whether she should keep going with it. And it just kind of seems like they're just like, nah, she's bad now.
Yeah. And it's just that old stubborn ex-girlfriend thing. And it's fine. Like she probably has a big role to play.
Yeah.
But sure. Like the Powell and I look at her aligned with like Powell and all those goons that are part of Fisk's posse, his little Nazi crew. They're just obnoxious. They're full on the nose characters.
Right. Well,
that just have no
like, I mean, the whole show, they've made you hate them. Like that's what they're there for.
But there was depth in the original Daredevil, Isaac.
Right.
Like there was like Wilson Fisk has such depth. His minions, you understood what they were doing. I will defend the Defenders probably to the end. I think that show had it. I think they did it. I think Iron Fist got a bit of a bad rap. The Hand was a pretty good set up villain that even Wilson Fisk knew not to mess with.
Right.
And there was such depth with all of those villains. So when they were defeated or beaten, or when they were killed, or like Bushmaster in Luke Cage, all these different characters that they introduced had complexity to them, had stories. I'm not getting that. I'm not getting that from Heather Glenn. I really liked Matt Murdock, but then Muse attacked me and now I have PTSD. And because I'm upset and Wilson Fisk is giving me a little more money, I'm just going to lie. I just don't, I don't see why she's doing it.
Exactly. That's my thing is like, they kind of made a point in the first season of her like being a good guy and like, this famous, really good at her job psychologist. And now she's just straight up abandoning all that to be Fisk's goon, like, I don't know. I just, like you said, I mean, she seems like a shallow character at this point, and I don't know how you turn that around.
And what makes Fisk such a great villain is he puts you in positions where you got to make a hard choice. He's like, all right, you got a daughter? I'm going to kill her, or you're going to write this about this innocent person. You let me know. I got to go do this to 5 other people. What I'm doing to you, I got to go do it to 5 other people. I'll be back. You let me know. It's nothing to him, but it's the biggest, hardest choice ever. She's not having that. She's just having PTSD.
Right.
She's just seeing Muse. She just needs psychological help. Yeah, I get it. It's a foil to her job, yada, yada, yada. But it's not that. And Fisk, what he did all the first couple seasons was put people in those binds. And
what would have been better is if she had gotten a call from Fisk himself about the swordsman instead of this random lawyer.
Right.
Some guy that we just saw a scene before that. And like, if Fisk gives her a call and is like, hey, I think you need to start doing this. Right. That gives it a lot more weight than just some random guy. And it's like, oh, okay. So now you're just cool with doing all this stuff because.
Yeah, but this is what made like Trish Walker, Foggy Nelson, Colleen Wigg, Electra Nakios, like Misty Knight. What made those guys scared of the bigger picture of all these people we're talking about? And mostly it was the Hand and Defenders. But like, it's because Harlem, New York City was a cesspool full of really bad people who will come and kill your family if you cross them. I'd see it more going political. And maybe it's because our lives are so political now that it's just not as fun or glamorizing to watch. But like, I just have a difficult time with these characters making these. Like, I see the one guy, Daniel Blake. I see Daniel Blake, who's just like drunk on power, and he should be terrified. Like, and I get they're playing the route of like, oh, he's young and stupid, but like, we had a whole season of it. It's time to scare that kid. It's time to scare.
And that's what I was just going to say with BB. He's coming to a little bit of a precipice. He's got to be at this point because he sees now, and obviously Buck, Fisk's right-hand man or whatever, handles all the illegal stuff. So technically, Blake has not seen that, but he has seen that. Like, he's there. He knows it's happening. And there's got to be a moment where he's shown that Fisk is bad.
Right.
Like, point blank, like, you can't deny it anymore. And that's where it's like, he's got to make a decision to go with it or start, working with BB and like feeding her information or something like that. And like you're saying, I feel like that should have been already, if not last season, right now. Like, we got to get this guy moving because, like you said, he's a turd, and I don't like watching him really any much more than anybody else. So.
I don't see anybody doing this because they have to. I see them doing it because they choose to, and that's not what makes these people work for Fisk.
Right.
I get he manipulates some. It's like, you can sell me that with Powell. Powell's just a nut job, and the nut job needs something to point at. That's cool. I need Daniel Blake scared. I need Sheila Rivera. That's a character who's scared. That's a character who's scared.
They're doing a good job with her because she sees it. She sees it, and she's like,
I cannot cross you.
But she doesn't really know how to get out of the situation or turn it around.
That's where Mr. Charles could be the key. If Mr. Charles is doing that to people, I would love to explore this season who's worse than Fisk. Is it the Hand? Like, you made that kind of point. Is the Hand back? Is it? I don't know. There's other people. There are other villains in this universe that they could do this with.
Right.
Well, is Fisk a Skrull? Is the real Wilson Fisk behind closed doors, and this is a fake? I don't know.
If they go back to Skrulls again after,
that would be stupid. It would be stupid. But I'm saying, like, but again, like, because you're telling the story the way you are, right. Fisk has always been top dog, and so you introduce Dave Fontaine, and I've heard some theories that, like, well, this is one of the things that will start off the Thunderbolts, and so the end of this season will be Thunderbolts. What happens with Thunderbolts, and that leads into Brand New Day. I don't know. I don't need it to connect. I don't need it to connect the Thunderbolts. I need it just to reference it. I'm sorry. I needed to connect. I don't need it to show me what happens in Thunderbolts. I needed to reference it.
Yeah.
Or give me I need Fisk to go like, do you guys remember when we all were losing our marbles for a whole 30 minutes that day? Yeah, me too. That's why we have vigilantes not allowed on the streets. That would be cool. That'd be a great, easy one-liner that Mr. Charles could say.
Yeah.
And everyone can go, yeah, that really sucked.
Speaking of Mr. Charles, though, too, Matthew Lillard, great casting.
Great casting.
Love that they got him in there. He's doing fantastic. I'm excited to see him ham it up the rest of the season.
Who do you think is Mr. Charles?
That's a great question. He seems to have a set of skills because he walks in like he owns the place. So he knows that he's untouchable, basically. I don't know why yet. That's the question, is like, why is he untouchable at this point? I do love the classic walks in, everybody's confused, and then he just says, you should be getting, or no, the phone rings and he's like, you should answer that. And then it's DeFontaine telling the AG of New York or whatever to go along with everything that Fisk was saying. Like, that was cool. I like that. But
I also don't feel like it's just DeFontaine. I feel like it's something else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I mean, it could, and I'm okay with it too. If at the end of it, it's like she shows up and Fisk is listening to her, I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
I actually think that would be fun.
Well, and Fisk and DeFontaine are, I mean, this is a classic comic book villain partnership, right? Like where they are working together because it suits them. But Dave Fontaine has her own agenda. When it comes down to it, her and Fisk are not doing the same things for the same goals. She's not his buddy because she likes him and wants to help him do whatever he's doing in New York. She's doing it for a specific reason. And that's what I'm curious to see is like, how does she play into the rest of this season and what is she getting out of it potentially for the future of the MCU? Because obviously she's, been in all of these other projects and stuff. What is she getting out of it that is going to make this worth it for her?
I would love it if it's somebody that tells them both what to do.
That would be wild.
Like I like a power broker, or like I've heard some people say Norman Osborn, but I just don't buy that. I think it's more.
I don't think so. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I think it's something parallel to like Alexander Pierce.
Sure.
Something more like that.
Very, very elite political person that is kind of in the shadows type of deal.
I mean, what if it's what if it's the president?
That would be a great comic trope too. That would be amazing.
What if it is Harrison Ford's character? I don't know.
Gosh, that would be so great.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I just don't see it. I just don't see the motivation there, because he spent all his motivation on the last Captain America movie. Yeah, I think that question makes this show very compelling. Like all the negatives I've said, the Mr. Charles thing, I did not expect to care as much about. But after episode 1, I'm very interested in that conversation.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Absolutely. Then, like you said, we're going to be getting Kristen Ritter back as Jessica Jones potentially next episode. So, what are you looking forward to with her? And do you think we're going to get the rest of the Defenders and they just haven't released that?
I sure hope so, man. I'm, forgive the pun, a defender of the Defenders. I think the show is so good. That's a show I'd give a 5.5 out of 6. I think it had its issues, but
wow,
it's so good.
Was that your favorite out of all of the Netflix shows?
I loved it. It was so good, Isaac. Like, it's up there to me. Like, I give Thunderbolts a 5.5 out of 6. I give Loki a 5.5 out of 6. I would give Defenders like on level with Fantastic Four First Steps. Like, I just think it was such a good show. I think they did such a good job, and I love their hallway fight scenes. I love Luke Cage. I love
them all working together. Was so fun to see after getting all the build up of those individual shows and stuff. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. And I think the big error was, in hindsight, Iron Fist. Iron Fist was the problem. If Iron Fist had panned out, it's a different conversation.
Iron Fist was the only show out of all of those that I did not finish. Like, I watched half of season 2 and I was like, I'm just not invested in this anymore. Like, season 1 was not great, but it was still watchable. And season 2, I lost it. I was like, we're done. We're done with this.
I need to accept this show for what it is and be okay with it. And so I will do that. So, like, is it possible like an Echo could show up or a Hawkeye could show up? Maybe. And I'm not just talking male Hawkeye. I'm talking female Hawkeye.
Sure.
Do I think it'll connect to Thunderbolts? No, but I hope there's a reference to it.
That would be sweet.
Yeah.
Especially with everything happening in New York. I really wish they would start connecting these dots in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
This isn't hard. This just, with all due respect, is not hard.
Right.
It takes an ounce of
you don't have to do much to make us happy. Just a little reference here and there. That's all we need.
Actually, you know what makes us more happy? The little reference than like the big scene.
Well, sure, yeah. I would much rather have that, but
no, what I'm saying is sometimes these first Ant-Man, the first scene is that prequel scene of Hank Pym being old and fighting that guy, like punching him in the face, and it's S.H.I.E.L.D. and it's like, oh, it's Peggy Carter, right? And it's like, it's a good scene, but it's a lot. It's over the top. And if it doesn't go well, it doesn't go well. Versus like if a newspaper clipping, which is what they did in Daredevil, they did that. That's all they had to do. And that was enough for me. Yep. So I just don't get that. I'm like, bring it back.
Yeah.
Bring that stuff back, man.
Yeah, they got some work to do.
Yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic about this season, though. I do think, as negative as I've talked on this show about season 1, I love Jessica Jones. I cannot wait. I think Kristen Ritter's awesome, and I think she's going to be a great addition to this. I really hope Mike Coulter's back. I really hope.
That would be sweet. Yeah, I'd be down.
I don't think he's back.
Finn Jones as Iron Fist, he got a bad rap because it was not a great script. Like, I think he did fine as an actor it was just not a good show. Like, if he got a second chance, I'd be okay with it. But I'd also be okay with recasting, whatever. It is what it is. But we haven't even talked about this part. The fight choreography in the boat scene and in that last scene, fantastic.
Yeah,
it's
they're
great
always good.
Daredevil action. He's using the billy clubs. It's great. The black suit looks fantastic.
Yeah, the Daredevil reveal was really sick.
Yep,
that was
cool.
cool.
Sweet. I was kind of expecting a little bit of like an origin on why the suit is black now, but they kind of just were like, no, it's black now. Okay, cool. But yeah, I mean, both of those were great. The one part in the final fight scene when they were about to rip off his mask, I was like, this is actually happening. Like, they're actually going to rip off his mask. And I was shocked that they actually did. And I loved how it ended. Like, after they saw him and they realized it was Matt Murdock, boom, boom, boom. And I knew it was Bullseye right away, because the one shot was two guys. He got one knife, killed two guys with one knife. And I was like, that's Bullseye, 100% Bullseye. And like you pointed out, though, the fact that he can't see that knife in front of him that says "you're welcome" or whatever it says, that's hilarious. I didn't even think about that until you just said that. But yeah, what a way to end that first episode. And I mean, it's just classic Daredevil fight action. It's solid fight choreography, no qualms with that at all. And the one thing they continue to do well, I think they did it well in the first season too, is in the boat scene, they have one clip where he is like hearing that they, I think, are sinking the boat or something, and the aspect ratio is like changing as he's like hearing things. That is really cool. I love that they continue to do that. And then he it like widens a little bit, and then it gets smaller and focuses on the watch when the scene like shifts to the watch. And that was like, okay, this is what I'm here for. I love the artistic cinematography that they're doing with his senses and stuff like that. So production wise, I think that they're doing great in the show. It's just this is going to be an interesting season, because they're really having to course correct season 1.
Yeah, that's a really good way. You could tell based off the conversations. It's pretty obvious that Feige didn't like it. He fired a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, and it's so hard because I'm sure they had this big grandiose plan initially, and then Vincent D'Onofrio and Charlie Cox were the ones that basically convinced them like, hey, this isn't what people want. I would be interested to hear what their plan was before Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio were
we will hear all of it one day. We will. I think 10, 15 years from now, we will hear.
I bet we're going to start hearing it more than that, because actually Daredevil Born Again now has a official podcast that is releasing weekly with the episodes.
I wouldn't say it's coming on.
They don't give a lot away necessarily, but I think season 1, it's like in the past now. So I wouldn't be surprised if they got like little snippets here and there. Full picture, for sure, we won't hear until the big MCU documentary comes out, 20 years from now or whatever, 15. But yeah, I think that might be a little, I've listened to the first couple episodes. It really is just like, celebrity game show type stuff. Like, hey, oh, you're here. It's great. Ha ha ha. But Charlie Cox is fun to listen to. I like listening to him. So if you're bored and listening to podcasts besides ours, that's one to put on your radar. I wouldn't say I'm cautious about podcasts that go along with shows and stuff like that, but one of the best podcasts I've ever listened to was the Chernobyl podcast that went along with that TV series. Whoo boy, if you are interested in history at all, you need to go watch that show and then listen to that podcast, because
Severances is great too.
I haven't listened to Severances. Does Ben Stiller on
theirs is so good. Severances is the best because they tell you straight up what happened.
I love
top
that.
to bottom. They don't hold back.
I'm gonna definitely have to throw that on my list, because that would be sweet to listen to. Severance is awesome. All right. Anyways, back to Daredevil. Little rabbit trail there. So, what did you rate episode 1?
Yeah, I'll give it a 4.25. I don't think it's the worst thing ever. I think some of the problems from season 1 lingered over. There are some cool things that are being introduced. again, I don't think a 4.25 is a bad rating. We talk about a lot of high end stuff here, and there's some stuff that I'm trying to defend my take. I'm just going to say 4.25 out of 6.
You don't have to defend it.
I don't need to defend it. We've talked about
it. That's a good rating for you.
There's there's a long way to go. And this show, like every show, I'm allowed to change my opinion based off new information.
Oh yeah.
And
absolutely.
there could be things that happen in this show that I overlooked that are great later. And I open myself up to that possibility.
I'd give it a 5 out of 6. It's solid. It's good. Good premiere. It's not like, your groundbreaking, everybody needs to go watch this right now type of show as of right now. So yeah, 5 out of 6. It was fun. I'm hoping and optimistic that they are going to do a good job of course correcting this season, and hopefully we'll get a more permanent version of Charlie Cox's Daredevil in the MCU, like see him in other projects and stuff like that, based off of this. I'm like, the stuff from the Spider-Man brand new day trailer, The Hand, I have a hard time seeing the Hand being a major player in that movie without Daredevil being in it. Like
Daredevil's in that movie.
Daredevil's gotta believe Daredevil's in that.
It's either Daredevil's in it or like Iron Fist is in it, and I have no reason to believe Iron Fist is in that movie.
No, I don't think so, man. Daredevil's the only one that makes sense to me for the Hand, for sure.
Yeah, and why would you have Punisher?
Yeah, right.
Why would you already let that cat out of the bag?
That is kind of fascinating. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know what Marvel's playing at, but I'm here for it. This is the most excited I've been about Marvel for a long time. So
I know
I'm excited.
This stuff, man. This is just, and how the heck are you doing this with Doomsday in the picture? Like, that's the other part is like, and I don't expect him to have any semblance of a role, Daredevil in Doomsday.
No. Cameo at best, right?
What is? Yeah,
I don't know.
There's a lot to do,
lot to talk about. Like I said, we're gonna do our best to try to get weekly, or at least bi-weekly reviews of Daredevil Born Again Season 2. So stay tuned for the future episodes. Max, thanks for joining me today. It's been a good conversation.
This has been riveting. I'm looking forward to the next one.
Absolutely riveting.
Absolutely.
Very, very, very excited about the future of Daredevil Born Again. Wherever you're listening, however you're listening, thank you so much for making us a part of your podcasting experience. We love you 3000. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for tuning in to the Infinity Bros podcast. You can find the Infinity Bros on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Twitch, and YouTube at the Infinity Bros. You can also check out our website at theinfinitybros.com for links, reviews, and sweet merch. Feel free to send listener feedback via social media or email at infinitybrospodcast@gmail.com.